can see it on the surface or not, we are all trying to keep ourselves mentally together. And no matter what our brains are experiencing, we're not alone, we're together. I personally am very much in a space right now of trying to keep it mentally together and feeling like I'm not doing a very good job of it, at least internally. For the past few weeks, a month, I don't know how long, I've just been in kind of a funk. My brain just has not felt good. And then I'll do some things that bring me joy, get myself back in a good place for a second, be like, oh yeah, I'm totally out of this funk. And then the next day it's like, ooh, nope, it is still here. Hello. And on some of these days, I've started to question it, and therefore question myself. Like, why are you doing this? Why is your brain this way? Why can't you just be happy? How come these things that normally make you happy are not making you super happy and excited? And then I remember, oh yeah, I have depression. Like, even on the days where I feel super good, it's always there under the surface somewhere. It's just sometimes hiding, sometimes comes out of hiding. And B, we have all been in hiding, essentially, for almost a year now of a global pandemic, and nothing is normal. So why do I expect my brain to feel normal? One day last week, my boyfriend Tucker and I were headed up to the mountain to do some skiing and snowboarding and shoot a video, and normally those are things that make me excited. Like, that is genuinely what I love doing in my life, but I had been in a point for a few days where I just felt totally unmotivated and didn't want to do anything, like even do something fun, like snowboard. But then part of me also knew that if I did get myself to go do something, have some fun, just be in the moment for a second, it would probably help, but I still, didn't want to do it. After the fact, it sounds so simple, but in the moment, I genuinely didn't know if I could do it. What I did know is that clearly I had a lot of emotions that needed to be let out. So here's what I did. I grabbed a jacket. I was sitting in the car, pulled the jacket over my head, put headphones in my ears, and put on some music that I enjoy. And again, the jacket is over my head, so just envision me sitting in the dark, crying. At first, I told myself, okay, you get one song, you're just gonna cry it out, and then the song's over, you're gonna stand up, you're gonna get out of the car. That song ended, I still felt very sad. So I did 2 or 3 songs, and by the end of it, I just kind of stopped crying. The tears did run out, contrary to popular belief. You can run out of tears sometimes. So I put on my jacket, I grabbed my GoPro, and I left the car. I went out and snowboarded, and most of the time, had a good time. Did I magically feel 100% better? No. Did I wake up the next morning and feel sad again? Yes, but baby steps. And now this week, I've been trying to be more proactive for getting my brain in a good place and keeping it that way, which for me right now means waking up and meditating, doing some journaling, some stretching so I can release some emotions that are held up in the tension in my body, and then I can go into my day at least knowing that I did something nice for my brain. And if sometimes that means crying to myself in the dark, that's okay, because sometimes it just feels good. And also, I am not alone in feeling that way and doing that specific thing. In fact, I know at least one other person who does that. And whoa, what are the chances they're on the podcast this week? It's Lou Featherstone. Or you might know her better as her Instagram handle, Luinluland. She's an influencer, a reckless optimist, a sustainable stylist, a vibrator advocate, yep, I said it, and honestly just a ray of rainbow sunshine. If you are ever scrolling through your social media feed and feeling like every single post makes you feel bad about yourself, then clearly you do not have enough Luinluland in your feed, because everything she does is colorful, it's bright, it's honest, it's real, and brings me joy. I think it probably goes without saying that I had so much fun talking to Lou about self-confidence, growing old disgracefully, and the days when you just have to sit in the dark and feel your feelings. So, let's get into it with the amazing Luinluland, Lou Featherstone. I can't say your name like without doing a fake accent.
Everybody does.
Lou Featherstone, but it sounds so much nicer every word from your mouth. I'm sure people say that to you all the time.
So, I mean, the British accent, I still haven't figured out how to make money out of it, right? I feel like I should have like one of those phone sex lines, but with a British accent, so you can just ring up and listen to me speak British.
Honestly, like you're getting close, right? I'm sure you give people like miniature sex therapy in your Instagram comments. So we'll get there. We'll get there here. So how do you actually describe what you do for people? Like if someone hasn't followed you on Instagram yet or seen all of your fashion posts everywhere, like how do you describe what you actually do?
Very good question. I don't know. People always ask what I do. I'm like, I don't know. I just sort of exist.
Great.
I don't know. Instagram just started like everybody's, I guess. Like I said, a little family page and just the shit I used to get up to. And it sort of developed into a bit of a brand at this point, just serving up some positivity and some laughs. And yeah, I've managed to build a really ace community, mostly of women, and it gives me absolute life. I think people are always like, oh my God, I come on the internet just for this. But I always feel like it's the other way around, because I feel like every time I put something out or I put myself out there, I get so much more back, and comments and direct messages. And yeah, my favorite thing is sort of people taking their clothes off and running around tulip festivals. Or like standing on the top of a mountain naked and sending me pictures. One couple sent me a picture of themselves naked in Joshua Tree. And they were like, we're so inspired. I'm like, got half the world running around naked.
Anytime we see like a naked person taking a selfie, just assume they are inspired by you. Yeah, I gotta say, this morning I was stalking your Instagram to like look at things you posted, lots of inspiration, and come up with some questions to ask you. And I started feeling a little creepy because I was like, I have now looked at her bum 100 times and it's 11 o'clock in the morning.
Well, a guy in the gym this morning was inquiring about I do some work for a sex toy company, and he was interrogating me at great length what would be best for his wife.
Wow.
I know, but I mean, that's what I do.
You are a sex therapist. You do have a sex hotline. It's just like in real life or on Instagram.
Exactly. I did. He said, I'm really worried that if it's too good, I'm going to be made redundant and be super. I'm like, oh God, that's such a man thing to say.
Totally. There's room for both, right?
Yeah, there's room for both.
So if people don't follow you on Instagram, I feel like we should do a little short segment here called the Luinluland Dictionary, because there's a few terms you use on your Instagram that I love so much, and now they're stuck in my head, and I'm sure they're stuck in the heads of so many people that follow you now, but I feel like we should explain them for people. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
And we're going to start at like the most PG and then ramp up. There's only 3. So the first one is living life out loud. What does that mean?
That's just living my best life, I guess, but I just think that always sounds a little bit meh. So I just prefer live out loud. It's just, I share everything. I share about, I would say probably 85% of my life is online. Of course, nobody wants to see the crap bits. You don't want to see me doing the washing and the ironing, although I do put on there as well. And bad days. I do share my bad days. And there's some things that just don't, people don't need to know, and you need to just sort of like process quietly by yourself. It's funny, sometimes things are really hard and you don't want to share them. I feel like I'm being really inauthentic by not telling everybody.
Totally. I feel that way a lot of the time too. I'm like, wait, I guess people don't, I need to share. But sometimes in the moment, like when you're feeling bad, even later, I'll think, oh, I kind of wish I posted something in the moment, but well, I didn't take a selfie while I was crying, so it's not worth it now.
There's such a bizarre thing. I've done it a couple of times, like videoed myself crying, but I usually just record these things for myself often, so I can refer back to them. Or like a moment in time. It's a bit like journaling, but I just do it on my poor phone that's so full of stuff. I have to delete my maps and emails if I want to take a picture some days. It's so full, the memories. But living out loud is just living life to the max, I guess. Just sharing everything, sharing my stories, sharing my ups and my downs, just living at 100, saying yes to everything. Saying yes to everything, I think, is one of the best things that I do. I obviously make quite a bold statement with my style some days. And I think also by doing that, a large portion of doing that is I really enjoy what comes from that. So strangers come and talk to me in the street. Ladies will follow me around the supermarket. It starts a conversation. And so that's another part of living out loud, I think, is just like wearing it on your sleeve, literally wearing it on your sleeve.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's living out loud.
I love that. Okay, the next one is growing old disgracefully.
Disgracefully. I mean, I think they're gonna have to bury me. I'll be kicking and screaming all the way to the grave, I think.
As you should. And wearing like 1,000 sequins.
Damn right. I think middle age has just brought a new confidence into my life. And I don't know, I've always been very unapologetically loud and brash. I was just born this way. Growing old disgracefully is just about, oh my God, I feel the best I've ever felt. And I'm 50 in 4 weeks.
Yes.
You just
Happy early birthday.
Thanks. So it's not that I care less what people think, because that's not true. But I just have more of a confidence in myself, and they're two very different things for me. So yeah, I just encourage women to let go, because I've discovered through styling women and through the internet, for some reason, we need permission. We need permission from someone else to do things. Or people are like, you're so inspirational. I'm like, I have only been for a hike and taken my clothes off. Like, anybody can do this. But, women will go, oh, I went for a hike. Literally, we need permission to do things. And I don't know what I do that gives women permission to do things. But I've had naked roller skating videos sent to me. I've had, like I said before, naked people in the desert. It's brilliant. I love it.
And you did give them permission. Like, did they need it? No. But
it's okay. No one died. Yeah. It's all fine. It's just for fun. Things can just be fun, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
We get really hung up with having all the answers and having all the things and having all the plans and having it all nailed down. And sometimes you can just have fun and it's all right. And if you go for the fun, you can almost guarantee something hilarious will come out. More will happen and it leads to something else.
And then the third and last one is the midlife fuck it. Which, did you make that up?
Yes, I did. The midlife fuck it. It's interesting actually because, well, it's like all things in life, I guess. Everybody has such different experiences through, for example, childbirth for me was absolutely atrocious. I hated pregnancy and I hated giving birth and I hated the first 2 years of motherhood, to be fair. I really struggled with it. When I got pregnant, people were like, oh, this is what you've always wanted. And I'm like, is it? Is it? Why do people keep telling me that? I've been walking around with a t-shirt on for my entire life going, I've just been waiting for this moment where I've been graced with a child. And I found it incredibly difficult. And I had a really miserable pregnancy and a really grim birth. And then 2 years of pretty awful postpartum depression, which I managed to keep hidden from pretty much everybody, including those closest to me, because that's what we do as women, is just muddle on through. And you kind of have to, when you got the baby, you just kind of keep going. But these phases in our life, I think men and women are we're built genetically so differently. I really think women, we're programmed for change. That's what we do. I mean, every month we have a bloody period, our boobs get bigger, our stomach grows, our entire body changes every 3 weeks. And then we go through this enormous phase of, having a baby or not having a baby, having a decision to have one or choosing not to, everything's loaded with guilt. And then we come out of that, the kids start to get a little bit older and they start to become less and less dependent on you, and your role again starts to change. And then you hit the menopause. And I see so many women, I'm like, brilliant, my kid's nearly off to college. I've done the first bit and I've done all right and I've set him up, and now this bit's up to him, and that's my role as his mum, to set him free and let him go start doing these things for himself now. Yeah. But so many women have a different experience with menopause. I've been terrifically lucky in that I don't know, for me it's very much mind over matter. I'm just not having it. Like, I have an ache and pain. I get, I've started getting little aches and pains in my knees and my shoulder, and I'm like, what's this? Just this middle-aged business. And then, you wake up one morning and Oscar's nearly left home. And, I look at my husband and I'm like, I've pretty much based my entire relationship with him making everything better for him and facilitating his career and making sure that he was where he needed to be. And I did that by taking care of Oscar and making sure he had everything he needed. So that wasn't a worry for Guy. You know, we came out to America following his career, which of course it's been amazing opportunity for all of us. But then you suddenly, nearly 50, say, well, what about me? Like, what's happening for me? Like, what's next for me? I'm only 50. I've got a whole chunk of life left. Like, what is happening? And so I think I've just gone, hang on a minute. I'm the fittest I've ever been. I feel really strong. I feel really confident, or I'm getting there. Fuck it, this is brilliant. So that's where the fuck it came from.
Yes.
It's midlife fuck it. And yeah, things are achy, and the skin, oh God, the skin is really challenging. Just growing old, it's just like shocking. It's shocking. It just creeps up on you all of a sudden. You're like, oh God, that was
I
easy.
think you look amazing. Your skin looks amazing.
I think that used to be a lot easier than it is now. But I'm also like, fuck it, my son's off to college. My husband can do what he wants, quite frankly. Again, it's all part of living out loud and just seizing those opportunities and saying yes to everything. And just instead of sitting around, I've had a few pivotal moments in my life where I've realized I'm just sitting around waiting for something to happen to me. And life just doesn't work like that. You've got to go out and grab it by the balls and make the most of it. And, you know, one thing always leads to another. So you just never know what's going to come. So yeah, does all that make sense? Am I really rambling?
No, it totally makes sense. And I love, you post about that a lot, about how your confidence has increased as you've gotten older. And how, like, what has that process been like? How do you think, did this happen naturally, or is that a conscious process you've gone through internally of like, I need to work on my confidence?
A bit of both. My confidence is, I mean, people, when you're loud, which, you know, and have a loud personality like our good selves, people,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. I mean, we don't know any other way to be, right? So
Exactly.
there are no options. This
Physically cannot shut up, so gotta go with it.
But when you have grown up like that, you're sort of quite hardy, because people love you or they hate you. Like, there's no just like, oh, Lou, who was she? People are like, oh God, what a loud, obnoxious, sweary flasher, you know. And other people are like, wow, she's so empowering and like strong. But people are very quick to judge you. I mean, people are quick to judge each other anyway, I think, which drives me crazy. But I think people are very quick to judge, particularly louder people. Like, I think they think we're fine and we're okay and we're super confident. And we're like, yeah, it's not exactly that. But I think, I don't know, I've tried, you know, gone through bad fate, you know, gone through some rough times in my life. I was a victim of quite a serious sexual assault.
Jeez, so sorry.
Many years ago. No, I'm not alone. And that you've got two options. Well, you've got two options. You've got a million different ways how that's going to manifest itself. But it was very horrific. And the Me Too movement was the very first time in the 30 years since it had happened, that I finally realized that it wasn't my fault. And that was thanks to the Me Too movement. And that was quite a pivotal point in my confidence. And that's also, I think, part of the fuck it as well. Like, it's really funny. Men and women are hilarious, the way that they respond to things. And men always think my posts are sexual, or, you know, she needs a good shag, or she's, you know, it couldn't possibly be that I'm just a woman who likes to take care of herself. You know,
what?
I mean, it blows my mind. I'm like, and then, you know, people are like, do you not worry there's young teenagers watching your, and I'm like, what is it that I'm promoting that's so awful?
Yeah.
You know, I promote self-care and self-confidence. I don't really know what is that threatening or what? I don't know. It's really funny. But I think there's definitely an age that comes with confidence. I think looking at my son, started now to be able to see the kind of human being that he's going to be. And I feel very proud of the job I've done with him. despite our rocky start. So that's given me confidence. So I'm like, that's good. I've like, because you spend as a parent, you spend your entire time doubting every decision you make. But then to see this nice human being emerging from his spotty hormonal, mess of being 16, that was good, so then
you can give yourself a little pat on the back.
That's quite rare. And then I actually did, and we've talked about this in the TV show before now, but I gave up shopping for a year. I'm an all or nothing. I'm all or nothing like you. And I have quite an addictive personality, which is never really, I love a drink. It's never really manifested itself out of control with substances, but with shopping and spending has been my biggest battle, or one of my biggest battles in my life. It is something that I resort to usually actually when I'm in a good place. I don't shop when I'm sad. I shop when I'm feeling good.
Interesting.
When I gave up shopping for clothes for the year to try and adjust my spending habit, I actually just started spending money on stuff, and we suddenly started getting really nice homeware and furnishing because I couldn't buy clothes.
Like, I didn't buy any dresses, but I bought 100 throw pillows.
So we're good for pillows for the next 65 years. But I'm sitting amongst most of them now.
They're beautiful. You did a great job.
I think moving to America was incredible for me. I found it very empowering to emigrate and to move to this country in particular. Of course, the last 4 years have been tricky politically and very challenging. And so no one would, before we moved here, people would never say, why do you live? People would go, wow, America, that's exciting. And then after He Who Shall Not Be Named got in, people started saying, why do you live there? Do you not want to come home? Yeah. And I felt really quite protective of the experience that I've had in America, in Portland. It's such a bubble. Obviously we're in our little, and the West Coast is very different to a lot of the America that makes the news probably in Britain. But then, making that decision to bring my child here when he was 10 and uproot from family and friends, it was a big decision. But I think, like I said, Americans get a bad rap. But actually, when you live here, you realize that what's perceived, I think, a lot internationally as arrogance, and I'm not, there is a little bit of that, but it's actually more a confidence. You guys have a confidence bred into you from school. You guys, you learn to public speak in class. You see, you probably don't even recognize half these things.
Totally. You don't know what you got in school until growing up from your parents or whatever, until you hear. I went to a Montessori school, which has so many little weird things. I loved it, but I also never knew anything different. Growing up and talking to other kids, like, oh wait, you didn't slice bananas and serve them with sprinkled nutmeg on them and serve it to the older kids. Like, that seems really weird, but I didn't know until
until you get out of it, right?
Yeah.
So just him, he had to do, I think, when we first got here, it blew my mind that he had to stand up in front of class and speak. He didn't do that for his first 5 years at school. And now he can stand up and deliver a presentation, and he's 16 and can barely string a sentence together when he talks to me, but he can't, I don't know. So emigrating for sure gave me a confidence. Exercise is a massive key to my mental health. If I don't work out, I am a raging lunatic and angry. I have to work out. And if I can't get to the gym, I'll hike. And I'll just ferociously walk up and down the stairs or the hill, and I solve all my problems working out and exercising, I think.
Amazing.
That definitely. And I do CrossFit, which again, a bit like my personality isn't for everybody.
I've never tried it, but it honestly looks great. It looks very intense. But
good. But it is intense, but it's fast intense. So you do a workout as a team. In the class, we're all doing the same workout, the men, the women, everybody. The weights are often adjusted, but lots of the women in our gym lift way heavier than some of the men. The women are way stronger than the dudes in our gym.
Yes.
So I really enjoy that. I enjoy the class and the camaraderie, and everybody really is so supportive. People really push each other on and push each other to their best. And no one leaves the class until the last person finishes. And they get a louder cheer than the first person that finishes. And I have found there's a distinct person who does CrossFit. Like, you know, there's some big personalities in the gym. So for once, I'm not the biggest personality, which is quite nice, because I love my role as my varying roles. It's quite nice not to be the loudest and the wildest. Every now and again, I blend in at CrossFit quite nicely. Although they'll all laugh if they hear this. Because the workouts, you see what you're going to do for the workout before you do it. And I arrive at the gym often thinking I'm never going to be able to do that. I'll do 6 rounds, not 10, or I'll run half of that distance. And so every day, go in there and surprise myself every day without fail almost. So I'm like, I come out of the gym when I always go in the morning, because I can't, I've lost interest by lunchtime. If I haven't worked out by noon, it's not happening. I'm like, nah. So I have to get up and get it done. It gets my brain open. And I literally by 8 a.m, I'm like, wow, if I can do that, I can do anything for the rest of the day. So it literally is a little switch in my head. And the non-shopping project was the same. When I finished the non-shopping project for the year of giving up to try and sort out my spending, the one overwhelming feeling that I felt was, if I can do that, if I can not shop for a whole year, I mean, I did buy 2 things, but we'll gloss over that. If I can do that, I can do anything. And that was the overwhelming thing that came out of that project. And and that changed my life. Yeah, it really changed my life. Just that feeling. And I was like, God, what's that feeling? And I went, oh my God, that's confidence. And I was 40 at that point. And that was one of the first times I could actually remember questioning what the feeling was. And it was confidence. And I went, oh my God, look at me. And then I started to embrace my confidence and not see it as, I think British people are here you celebrate people and you celebrate success. That's a very American thing. And you applaud entrepreneurship. And, when I first arrived here, it really blew my mind, because I would say, if you said, say you came up with an idea. I think I would like to start a business. I'm going to open a pink llama, 3-legged llama farm. I don't know why it's the stupidest thing.
This sounds like the best business in Portland. I'm in. Right? I'll invest.
Right. There you go. Oh my God, brilliant. So that's what American people say. People go, oh my God, that's a brilliant idea. You need to speak to my friend who has a pink llama. You need to speak to my other friend who's got a llama with 3 legs. You need to speak to a friend. People are generous with their advice, and they support you, and they empower you, and they uplift you and make you think. In England, they'd go, well, I can think of 10 reasons why that wouldn't work. And that just looks like really negative. Whereas America, I find, well, my experience of America is, as a middle-class white woman,
right?
I found dreadfully empowering and supportive, and I've got more mentors than I could shake a stick at, because people are just so kind and generous.
That's so interesting, but that makes a lot of sense. It's like there are a lot of issues with the American dream. Like, obviously the American dream, like you just said, like it doesn't. You just alluded to it doesn't exist equally for everyone. It's not a perfect ideal, but it's like we still have it in our brains of like, yes, you can do anything, even if doesn't mean we're actually going to like help or like give our taxes to help you or like volunteer or whatever. But in the initial moment, we'll support it.
Yeah. And I've always found everyone's been completely helpful. Whereas it's quite funny. Somebody messaged me recently on Instagram. They were, would you mind telling me, British woman, would you mind telling me where you got your shoes from? But I understand if you don't want to. And I went, what a bizarre thing to say. Why wouldn't I tell her where I got my shoes from? And I said to another influencer, another British influencer, why wouldn't I tell her where I got my shoes from? Surely that's what I do. And she went, oh God, I don't tell anyone where I got anything. I don't want everybody copying me. And I'm like, but it's so different in Britain. It's very, very, the whole psyche of the actual society is just built very, very differently. But we do have free healthcare for all and a very good, social care system. So,
yes.
It's literally chalk and cheese. It's been quite eye-opening seeing both from both sides. It's been quite fascinating.
Yeah.
And I'm able to pick the bits I want from both and mishmash it together.
That's so cool. As you may or may not know, I am a self-proclaimed crazy plant lady. But as of just a couple years ago, I was convinced I would forever be a plant killer. That is until I met the Plant Doctors. They're two women, Chelsea and Skylar, in Portland, Oregon, who love helping people and businesses figure out how to care for their plants. And they sell cute plants and adorable plant pots too. They have brought lots of beauty into my home. They do house calls if you're here in Portland, or you can set up a virtual consultation to get their plant tips online. Do I still kill my plants sometimes? Yes, definitely. But the Plant Doctors are always there to help. Go get yourself a new plant. You deserve it. You can find them at theplantdocs.com. That's theplantdocs.com. And use the code Cassidy for 15% off your order. That's code Cassidy at theplantdocs.com. I love nut butter. Okay, that definitely sounds weird when I say it out loud in audio form, but you know you love it too, okay? Some toast with some nut butter on it in the morning. So let me introduce you to my favorite nut butter makers, Ground Up. They make super unique flavors like cinnamon snickerdoodle, coconut cardamom, and Oregon hazelnut. I can honestly never pick a favorite, but that is not the only thing that makes them unique. Ground Up's tagline is "Spread Good," because the company also provides job opportunities to women overcoming adversity, like incarceration, homelessness, and mental illness. You can support their mission by buying some delicious nut butter for yourself at grounduppdx.com. And use the code MENTALLYTOGETHER, all one word, for 15% off your order. That's code MENTALLYTOGETHER, all one word, at grounduppdx.com.
Now, back to the show.
So I picture you like waking up every day. I mean, obviously, I know that you wake up as a real person, but like I also picture you waking up in sequins, hair done, like fancy hat, like a sequin jumpsuit on. Do you ever, obviously you don't get out of bed like that, but do you ever have a sad day where you're not that bold personality with all the confidence in the world?
Oh yeah, some days I lie in bed like everybody else and pull my covers over my head. Silly things will trigger me off. Homesickness is quite bad. COVID's really bugging me up, I think.
I was thinking that with a lot of us in 2020 have had to deal with not seeing family members for longer periods of time than normal because of COVID, obviously. For you, that's something that is not new for you. Like your mom is across the world and
she has very advanced Alzheimer's now. And she so she doesn't even know I'm gone or that COVID's happening. So there's that. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But to make a decision to leave your mother when she was sick, she's was diagnosed many years ago, like 14 years ago now, I think. So we've lived with this journey for a really, really long time. So to make the decision to leave when she was already sick and quite, progressing is a really hard decision to live with. The guilt it's not so much for her, because like I say, she doesn't even know I've gone. I could pop back tomorrow and she'd be like, she doesn't remember who we are anymore. But leaving my sister and my brother and my father to sort of like cope with that's been really hard. And then one thing with living overseas is, you're like, oh, well, what's the worst that could happen? Let's go give it a try. Let's go and give it a try. See what happens. What's the worst that could happen? No one predicted a pandemic or, previous
famous last words.
The one thing I always was like, I can be anywhere I need to in the world in 24 hours. Like if something happens to mum, I can just get back. And now that's not true.
Yeah.
That's really hard.
Yeah.
So she's obviously trapped in her home and can't get out, and she's deteriorated really rapidly through COVID. The dementia and elderly patients have if you research any of the damage that COVID's done, that group is just horrendous.
Just the isolation. I mean, it's been bad on all of us, but for someone that
she needed that stimulation from my dad. It's just awful. Anyway, so, she's really very weak. It's really harrowing, but that's hard. But I think that she was diagnosed with early onset 60. So, there's dark days when I think, well, if I'm going to go down the same path as her, that gives me 11 good years. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Feel like I need a really dramatic rock and roll ending, though. I don't want to be like getting Alzheimer's and shitting my own pants and, fading before my son's eyes. I want to go off a cliff or like,
naked.
Naked. Hanging on a no, it doesn't matter. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know, but
we've got time to plan it. Okay, you don't have to think about that yet.
I need a good outfit for it. That's for sure. But you just never know, do you? So, and moving here, I've met a really good bunch of women. So there are some Americans who are from here. There's a couple of Americans, but with a couple of Dutch, we've got Belgium, we've got some English. So we're all here and we all know that we are sort of here on a limited time. We're not going to probably be in Portland forever. We're here. We all came for our husbands' careers and it's a moment in time for us. So it's a bit like being on an extended girls' holiday because we just all we all make the most of everything. So, sort of like, Saturday morning, we'll drive for 3 hours if we want to go and see a decent waterfall. And, we really make the most of the time that we've got together. And that's really helped. That's been amazing. Girlfriends are key. Girlfriends are key. You need your girls you can be honest with, you can cry with, who put up with your shit when you go a bit wobbly. And love you anyway.
When you get a bit wobbly, I like that.
So yeah, I think girlfriends and exercise. And I find the dressing up, it's all part of the same thing. It like lifts me up, and then in turn it makes somebody talk to me, and then we have a chat, and then we both leave happy. And then so it all sort of circles around the same thing,
Totally. I mean, I keep thinking this year, like there's been very long stretches of time where I'll shower, but I'll just wear my pajamas all the time. Like only shower when I really have to, but like put my hair up in a beanie, sit around, don't put makeup on. And that should be fine. And I've gotten very used to that, which I love. Like I love the not having to get dressed up and be on TV every day. Right. But at the same time, then sometimes I need a day where I'm like, I'm going to put on a cute outfit. I'm going to do my makeup and I'm looking in the mirror and go, yeah, you've got this. You are a powerful, confident woman. And I hate that I need that for a second, but it really does help. You put something on that you love. Bright colors seems to be a theme for you. I love the same thing. And it does kind of trick your brain.
It does trick your brain.
Going like,
you all need that. I think if you ask anyone about COVID, the hardest thing is I found is not having anything to look forward to. Like just the simple, in 3 weeks, I've got a weekend away with the girls, or, at Christmas, I'm going to do this. Not being able to plan has literally blown my mind. I don't even want to go on a fancy trip, but I just want something to look forward to.
Right.
I find that incredibly difficult. I like to finish one vacation with the next one at least planned out and in the calendar so I can start the countdown for the next one. So I suppose COVID's been good for me to be a little bit more sort of like chilled out.
Yeah.
Pretty good at that. I like a plan.
It's hard to just chill out, but it is good to learn.
It is. Plus, nothing much happens when you're sitting at home. Like, nothing fun happens. Particularly, I need to go out and meet people and something crazy happen.
True. Got a good story to go with it.
Yeah. But, crazy days.
Yeah.
Yes. I was thinking actually thinking this morning about the podcast about some of the sort of significant points in my life where my mental health has been challenged. I don't get on with therapists very well.
Oh.
I think the first one I was a man, and after about 6 months, I realized I was just flirting with him, and he was flirting back, and I suddenly had this epiphany: we were getting nowhere, and all I was doing was just flirting with him.
Sounds like a movie.
I said to my mate, I think I'm just flirting with the therapist. And she went, you need an older woman who's not going to take any of your shit. And I went, oh, okay then. So I said to him, you know what? As much as I've enjoyed flirting with you and paying for the privilege, it's like, I really feel like we're not getting anywhere. I need someone else. So I went off and found a woman called Diana Hedge. And she was brilliant. She was she did cognitive behavioral therapy with me, which I really did make a difference. But I said to her, my friend says I need an older woman who's not going to take any of my shit. And she went, well, you've come to the right place. And she was excellent. And then I've just had another one. I got one last year when I was really struggling with, I don't know, just marriage. I needed a bit of, just support of how to make some changes in that. And again, I think she's just entertained by my stories. And I think people just sort of, you really have to shop around for the right therapist, I think, is the moral for this story. But I realized also for years, I think it was part of moving all the time as a child and changing schools quite frequently, was that I developed this skill. I'm very good at compartmentalizing. I do this actual proper, if somebody annoys me or is a situation that I can't handle, I visualize a box and I put the person or the problem in a box, and then I put the lid on it and then I put it away. And I literally used to visualize myself doing that.
Whoa.
And then during COVID, I lost all my fake eyelashes, which I've had on for like 14 years. And I realized once they'd all gone, I started crying. And I realized I had trained myself to stop, not to cry. I could physically, and this is really, really bad, obviously. But then if I wanted to just have a weep, I'd go, no, save your lashes, save your lashes, save your lashes. And I suddenly realized that I was controlling myself so much that I putting all my problems in a box and putting the lid on and putting them away and then not crying so I didn't upset my lashes. I suddenly was like, oh, I don't know, if I used to think it was a superpower. Now on reflection, I'm like, that was probably the least healthy thing I have ever done in my life. It's just like,
maybe I should go open that box.
So I've been gently opening the corner of all my boxes and going, oh, God damn it. But it's much more helpful. It's much, much more helpful. And started reading a lot more sort of self-help books and finding my voice. And I think Instagram has helped me find my voice and share a lot of my experiences. And I get a lot of, I think because I share quite a lot, people share quite a lot with me. So if I ever post about my mum, if I post about my mum, I have to be prepared for the next 3 days for the direct messages that I get. And they're so overwhelmingly kind and thoughtful and generous. But I also get a lot of people who share a lot of their woes with me. So, which of course I enjoy, but I have to really prepare to write 4 days off.
Totally.
Anyway.
It's like you're a therapist, and what I imagine therapists have to go through is like,
I am.
Yeah.
But I think I have definitely learned. I've just read Glennon Doyle's Untamed. Have you read that?
No, but I've seen you post about it and I need to.
You really must. So, suddenly I can't stop bleating on about the blooming thing, but she talks about, it's just like meditation or prayer, but she talks about very much sinking into your feelings and really feeling them. And that it sounds really obvious, but actually it's very rare that you actually do it. And it's no phone, no music, just lie in the dark room. And if you can't find any peace and quiet, she actually goes into her wardrobe and closes the door and sinks into her feelings in the book. And I started doing that because of COVID. There's nowhere to freaking go. And I found myself just sitting in the car crying around the corner. I think this is just really strange. So I started going into my closet and sitting under my trousers. It's really helped me identify my things. I sit in the dark and I can go, well, what triggered that off? And I can work my way back through things, and if I can follow the path of where it started, I can identify it and deal with it. And it's much easier. And I come out and I go, okay, I completely overreacted about that the other day. Now I figured out why. I'm really sorry. Fine. Next.
That's amazing.
It's really good. And just allowing yourself the permission and the time just to figure out because when you're trying to just cause an argument with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, you know when you're doing it.
Yes.
You know when you're doing it. My husband went to me the other day, I'm not giving it to you. I'm not giving it to you. I know what you're doing. I know what you're trying for, and it's not happening. I'm not giving it to you, which of course made me furious, but only for about 5 minutes.
Oh, I'm laughing because, I relate to this way too much.
Mm-hmm. But you don't really stop and just let them let those feelings come. So I've started, particularly in COVID, if I'm having a bad day, I literally just pull the duvet over my head, write the day off, start again tomorrow. And I've become better at doing that. I don't know. So yeah, I think that therapy, I've had a mixed experience with therapy, but I'm quite in tune with myself now. I kind of really understand myself a lot more as the years have gone on. Things make a bit more sense. Things that were quite confusing make a bit more sense. But I think somebody said to me last time I did a podcast, actually, somebody went, so tell us all, how does it feel to have it all together, to like know where you're going, know what you're doing, and to be confident in that? And I just burst out laughing and I went, oh, bloody hell. I didn't think that was the impression I actually gave. I feel like I'm unraveling. Some days I look at my post and I go, God, I look like I'm unraveling. Or I know if I've really stepped over the line, because I get funny messages from my friends going, are you okay? You're a little bit random today. People like,
you're like, wait, the people I know actually saw that? Oh,
yeah,
shoot. Wait.
They know I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing too good a job. And it's become, because during COVID, I've got so many new followers on Instagram at the Luinluland Fun Factory that I get so many messages going, oh, you cheer us up. You're the only glimmer of light in my day. So if I'm feeling like shit, I'm like, oh my God, I'm the glimmer of light in other people's days. I must do something inspiring and positive. So I
better shine today.
I'm like dredging through old pictures, trying to find something inspirational. Oh, that'll do. No.
See, my question here, the point of this podcast is like, so you look like you always have it all together, but tell us when you don't, because that's how I don't actually have it all together. I just used to play a person on TV that had it all together.
I mean, I think it's more appealing that you don't have it. Who wants to watch someone who's got it all together, really? I just don't see the point.
That's no fun.
You know, and there is a mad trend for everyone taking pictures of themselves crying on the internet, but I'm all for it. I mean, be real, like live out loud and just be real, the good bits and the bad bits. And you always, you're never alone. That's the beautiful thing. I mean, social media is such a devil, isn't it? I mean, we all know the pitfalls of it, and we all look at people's lives and we all know that's not all real, and yet we still fall for it because we all have aspirations for, I don't know, the bloody greener grass that we all think that there is somewhere else. And the ticket is just watering your own grass, I think, or just, enjoying what you already have, finding that, and I am eternally grateful to my parents for raising me, just finding gratitude in the smallest things. Because if you can find gratitude in listening to the rain in bed at 6 o'clock this morning, it helps you get over the fact that you had to get up at 6 o'clock this morning to get to the gym. Or, I like, Oregon wouldn't be so bloody beautiful if it didn't rain all the time. So, I don't mind the rain, because when it's raining, I just think, oh, well, at least it's beautiful, and it wouldn't be if it didn't. So I don't know, just little things. And if you can find that, just really concentrate on the gratitude. The rest is just a little bit easier to deal with. That's what I think in a way. But,
and, the rain helps the grass be beautiful. So if you go cry in the closet, just pretend there's like now I'm picturing just like a bunch of plants in your closet, and you have to cry to water them.
There you go.
You have to go do it. The grass in your closet needs to be watered too.
I think you have to, it's a real revelation dealing with your actual feelings. It's a real revelation. And like journaling, so good, like writing things down, like, really therapists have got the easiest job in the world, because you just sit there and you talk and you just sort of sort yourself out anyway. If they're good, they just go, and how did you feel about that? And you go, oh my God. And you come up with your, a good therapist just empowers you to find your own answers anyway. But what I am doing is I'm starting to move Luinluland towards a bit of more of a middle-aged resource for middle-aged women to sort of come together in the community, because I mean, things like, the self-pleasure and the vibrator advocate sort of thing. Obviously every time I post a picture of a vibrator, you lose 10 followers. It's hilarious, but it's sort of like, I don't know, there's some real basics like self-care is a real, people use that term all the time. It's just so important, and I think one of the biggest things that comes with middle age for women is just they feel, feel shit about your body. And then we have the physical changes. You know, there is a reason why it's, you know, the menopause's nickname is the change, because you do completely change. Like, it's a midlife, you know, fuck it. It's a midlife fuck it. Things are changing, you know, physically and mentally. And it is quite a challenge. But I find, you know, with the self-care, you know, I found my sexy in myself again. And then that gives me a confidence.
Yeah.
And I can then, you know, if I don't know how my body works, how am I going to tell anybody else how my body works? If I don't know what makes me happy, how the hell, if I can't make myself happy, how is anyone else going to, you know, get involved? So, you know, the small things in life you can take control of. Well, that's amazing. That amazing saying, you know, grant me the patience to cope with things and then the wisdom to know the difference, whatever that really badly quoted quote was.
Something very wise.
There's lots of things you don't have to have, you know, a lot of money to do. You know, there's lots of the things I do. I have the luxury of time, and obviously we're not, you know, we have a very fortunate life, and we, you know, through hard work, but, you know, we're in a fortunate position. Mostly I have a little bit of time. But there's lots of things that don't cost any money. Like, you know, self-care doesn't cost any money.
Yeah.
It's, you know, you can do it in 10 minutes by yourself. Very good.
Very specific type of self-care you're referring to.
I'm referring to very specific self-care. But then, you know, I see self-care as going to the gym and as walking and as drinking a glass of water and, you know, but yeah.
Or getting dressed up, making a little, putting on a new outfit.
Changing
or
your style up. Like,
getting your nails done.
Just changing little things. And, you know, I remember clear as day when I was very depressed with postpartum depression after Oscar, every single thing being such an achievement. Even a shower was such an achievement. And so I don't think I've tried not to ever take things like that for granted again, just because that was such hard work. But yeah, I don't know. I think they all laugh at me at the gym because I swear at the top of my voice, and I'm like, come on. Or like, come on, you buggers, like, work harder. But really, most of the time, I realise I'm actually just yelling at myself. And then I try to include everybody else who doesn't look quite so weird, which is probably what I'm doing on Instagram half the time. I force myself to do the quick change videos to inspire everybody else, but really it's just you know, it helps me to help everybody else. And then they come back to me. It's like a circle. Like, life's always a circle, isn't it? I think you get out what you put in. Flat,
totally.
You know, nearly 99.9% of the time, I think you get more back when you put yourself out there.
If you're loving this episode of Mentally Together, you might be curious. What goes on behind the scenes? Which parts of the conversation were left on the cutting room floor? Well, let's talk about it. Over on Patreon, my patrons get to see deleted video clips from every episode and get to be the first to ask questions of each podcast guest. And sometimes Patreon even gets to choose who you hear on the podcast next. Like this week, I posted 4 options of potential guests, and my patrons chose Lou. So if you're loving her, as I'm sure you are, you have them to thank. Oh, and as one of my patrons, you get every episode of the show a day early on Sundays. You can read all about the different tiers and sign up at patreon.com/Cassidy Quinn. Again, that's Patreon, patreon.com/Cassidy Quinn. Okay, now we have a few questions from our friends on the internet.
The internet, I love the
internet. The first 3 are from my friends on Patreon, which means their questions get to go first. So Ashley wants to know, if someone is in a funk, what can we do to help them out of it?
Ooh. Take them hiking. Go on an adventure. And you can still have adventures in COVID, just 6 feet apart.
Exactly. It's the best thing to do. Go outside. You can be away from people.
Yep. And you know what? I put the tunes on. Dancing is just, you know, when nobody's looking, or video yourself and put it on the internet like I do.
Or let everyone watch you.
And let everybody watch me. But I mean, who wants to watch that? Apparently thousands of people want to watch that. But That's what, I was saying about earlier about giving people permission, things like that, just dancing around and just fuck it. Let's, it really lifts my energy. It really lifts my energy up if I just put a big tune on really loud and have a little dance around, shake it out, and then go back to what it was I was doing. It does really help. So yeah,
Totally.
That's what my first advice would be. If I was in a funk, first stop dance, second stop wank.
And then go on the hike. Then go on the
hike. Third thing, hike. Fourth thing, put a decent outfit on and go to the supermarket. And I guarantee you a stranger will talk to you and it will perk up your day.
Yes, it's so true.
Mm-hmm.
Peter wants to know, I know that we are allowed to relax and unwind, which is good. You know that, at least, Peter. But what are some things you do to get through the days when you feel like you don't want to do anything? Which I think we touched on this. You said you just pull the cover over and say, oh, we'll try tomorrow.
Try again tomorrow. That's about the only advice I've got for that. I mean, friends again are helpful. I mean, there's some days you don't even want to talk to them, or you just feel guilty, or you feel like a burden, or you feel like, you're not you don't want to waste their time. I think I'm really guilty of that. I'm terrible at pushing people away is what I do. I just push people away. I don't know if that's, some deep down lack of worth. I just find it incredibly difficult. I don't know. I don't find it hard sharing, but I find accepting help very difficult. I can talk and talk and talk, but I find it very hard letting people help me. And my parents, my sister, my husband, and my son will all are testament to that. I will make life very difficult for myself before I'll let you help me, which is really odd, because I would do anything for my friends and family that needed doing, but I can't accept it on the way out. And I don't know why. I've never really got to the bottom of that, because I was too busy flirting with the therapist rather than listening. I don't know what that is.
I don't think you're alone in that one, because I definitely feel the same way. And for me, a lot of times it's like I'll be having a bad day, or I'll be super anxious or depressed or whatever, but I won't not even getting to the point of like being able to receive help for it, but not even knowing that I'm there. My boyfriend will be like, "What? This happened this morning." He's like, "What? Are you okay? Because he called me. He's like, so I'm on my way home from the gym. I'm stopping at the grocery store to get shampoo because we're out of shampoo." And I was like, I was just going to take a shower. And he was like, I said I was getting shampoo. And I was like, but you used the rest of it? And he's like, yes, but I'm getting shampoo. And you have 4 hours until you have a podcast and you need to wash your hair. Okay. Like, I'm like, okay. Yeah. He's like, are you okay? Like, do we need to talk? What's going on? You just got mad about shampoo. Like,
yeah.
Oh, yep. There's the anxiety. So sometimes it's not even, to me, it doesn't even get to the point of like accept help or don't accept help. It's like, just accept that that's where my brain is at.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And some days I'll think, oh, I'm having a good day. And then the smallest thing will happen and I will crumble and I'll go, okay, I'm not okay. Not okay at all. That's how I can tell. It's not my general mood, but when something goes wrong, then I can tell where I am on my balancing scale.
Totally.
But I think what you're doing is so incredibly important. Just normalizing women's bodies, normalizing self-care. That's all I'm trying to do.
Exactly.
Like, normalizing mental health. We all struggle. And if you say that you're not, then you're lying.
Then you somehow went to another planet for 2020 and have stayed blissfully unaware of literally everything. And
chances are, if you think at some point you're going to kill someone or murder someone, but I don't know. It's still such a negative connotation attached to mental health. Whereas, it's for me, I've so many phases of it. And that, I think maybe that is one good, that's definitely a good thing with aging, because you definitely give less fucks. You also have more years of experience to draw on, and I think particularly in COVID, one thing is, this is not forever. Things have, for sure the world is changing so rapidly and we don't know what it's going to look like coming out the other side, which is really unsettling. But, it won't last forever. Bad days don't last forever. You don't feel that low forever. The next day might be a little bit better, or you could go back down again, but it's okay giving yourself permission to either run around a field naked or just to lie in bed with the duvet over your head, you know, and telling the people around you that you love you. Now, my friends have learned now that I push them away. So they come barging the door down until I go, I know you're barging the door down, but I don't want you to. And they go, okay, as long as you know that we're here. And I'm like, fine, I'll go. And I'm going to shut my door again. But yeah, I don't know. It's rough. Some days it's rough. And that's okay as well, you know?
Right.
And everything is just a process. Everything's a journey. So you just got to roll with it all, I guess. The ups and the downs. And hopefully the ups will carry you. The downs will carry you up. Is that it? Yeah, the downs will carry you up. No. Yeah, the downs will carry you up.
Yeah. Like riding a bike. You go downhill and then so you get more momentum for the uphill, right?
Literally visualizing that going, oh my God, what? Yeah. That was my mental health chart.
Yeah. Last important question. If people want to follow you on the internet, see all the things you're doing, where's the best place for people to find you?
Well, at the moment it's Instagram, but I'm trying to develop an app that's a sort of midlife coach, fitness, sexual health, food and nutrition, styling, mental health. So
yes,
they're my that's where I'm sort of coming out from there, and just so that's what's happening.
That's so exciting. Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
Well,
I'll let you put it out into the world. It'll happen.
There you go. Manifesting.
Exactly.
So getting there.
Yeah. So Instagram in the meantime, app coming soon.
Instagram in the meantime. And yeah, look at me. I'm 50. It's just to keep rolling with it. You just got to keep rolling. Pivot and spin and reinvent. Oh, look at you.
We're doing it. Pivot, spin. Exactly.
Next.
Just gotta listen to your brain and your feelings and you'll be okay.
Yeah. Go sit in the wardrobe, close your eyes, sink into the feelings, come back out when you're ready. Get on with it.
Thank you, wonderful, colorful, bright, magical human listening right now, for listening to this episode of Mentally Together. We put out new episodes every Monday, so I, Cassidy Quinn, will see you right back here next week. In the meantime, go do something nice for your brain today. Put on a colorful outfit, go on a hike, naked, have a wank. Okay, I had to say it for Lou, okay? But whatever, just do something that will make your day just a little bit better. Oh, and Lou in the interview mentioned an app that she might be working on. Right now, she's getting ready to launch a 3-month online course. It's called Luinluland's Guide to Being a Reckless Optimist. And here's what it's about. Straight from Lou, it's a 3-month online course designed to help women shift their mindset to positive, help them step outside their comfort zone to find their confidence, and how to live your best life and step into your power, instead of letting life happen to you. If you're interested, sign up to get notified at luinluland.com. That's LUINLULAND.com. Because remember, we're all just trying to keep it mentally together. Mentally Together is produced, hosted, and edited by Cassidy Quinn in collaboration with Koba FM, a podcast network that is all about community, baby.